And I saw him, I'm like, how do I fight him? I was like, I gotta shoot him first, like shoot him in the leg or something. So the first fight we get into, I shoot him in the leg first. It was good. But I was up there in Vancouver shooting this film, and Brandon Routh arrived up there, and we were staying in the same place, and he was starting to shoot Green Arrow. So I know he's on that show now, and he's gonna be there for a while, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
He gets a second superhero before I do. I'm a little ticked off about that, I'll be honest.
Thank you so much for coming to Tulsa.
Thank you. Tulsa's pretty great, I gotta be honest. Apparently the weather's like this all the time, right?
Yeah, especially during the summer.
Yeah.
But hi. It's really great to see you. I saw you in Criminal Minds when you played the addicted gambler, and that was really cool because seeing you in a totally different type of role, and it was really gritty, and you're going through so much suffering and everything. So, like, how do you feel like you're typecast sometimes, and do you plan to play more of those kind of roles?
You know, the truth is, when I first got out of playing Clark Kent and Superman, there was a time where I was very concerned about that because I hadn't done a lot of work outside of that, so it was tough, and playing other roles, and I really didn't have the chops to play a lot of other roles at the time. I hadn't done that much. Time and age and becoming a father changes who you are and what you can tap into. And so since Lois and Clark, I've probably done 100 movies and hundreds of hours of television. So I've been able to play just a wide range of people. And as you change as a person, you get the opportunity to play different characters. And I plan on continuing to do that on and on and on and on and on. I still look at my career and hope that it's in its infancy. I mean, I'm in my early 20s, so, right?
I mean, you played Scott Peterson of all things.
Yes, I use that as my dating barometer. I'll tell you what. There was a girl here in Tulsa. She's like, and she's a beautiful girl too. She's like, hey, I loved you at Scott Peterson. Scott Peterson. I was like, you're bad news. And that's the end of this conversation. As pretty as you may be, you frighten me. So that was actually an interesting story because that was a character who, at the time, had not been convicted. Scott Peterson has just started his pre-trial hearing the day we started principal photography, but before that happened, I had turned it down 4 times.
Was it because you had to do your hair like that?
Actually, I wanted to dye my hair. It was actually a wig when we did it, but they wouldn't shoot chronologically. Money, what the heck. I had turned it down, and I was just worried about being connected to that real person. And then finally my father was like, I said, Dad, I keep getting offered this role, Scott Peterson. He's like, well, could you be good in it? And I said, yeah, actually I could be really good in it. I kind of look like the guy. And he says, well, are you an actor? Yes, sir.
Is there a chance the check will clear? How
Go to
raise
work.
you, son? Yeah.
Exactly. And I went and did it. It was actually quite great. My agent was scared they'd be chasing me up and down the street with pitchforks and things. And, good thing I was fast. Was fast. So it was really interesting. But the most interesting character, the question I get about that is, did you get to meet him? I'm like, well, what would I have done? Like, I met him, I'd be like, dude, listen, I'm gonna play you, so just tell me. Just so I know what I'm doing.
Trying to internalize my role. Just between you and
I won't tell anyone. So that's... He did it! Guilty! Did you tape that? It's just fun playing those kind of roles. And in doing it, it's a lot of pressure to go into someone else's show. And you got one shot to do it, and rarely are you the good guy. You don't come into someone else's show and be like good guy and steal a show. You're always the bad guy or something like that. So I enjoy the challenge of going on a CSI or a Law & Order SVU. By the way, on SVU, I got away with the crime. Thank you.
Yeah, super creepy.
Very creepy, very creepy. I was playing a friend of mine who was kind of creepy. That's basically it.
Didn't have tattoos.
He's like, why are you watching me all the time? I'm like, dude, because you're creepy and I'm going to play you. That's what it is. I'm not kidding. I jest, but there's a kernel of truth in that. And then actors like to watch other people. But when you achieve a certain level of fame, you'll find that like Robert Downey Jr. can't go sit in a coffee shop and stare at everybody. But I was in a coffee shop and Robert Downey Jr. was staring at me. It was just freaky.
Yeah, no one will ever believe you.
So it's fun. We love to watch people and sort of steal from them. And I'll play as many of those roles as I can.
I just want to say you were really good in Criminal Minds. It was believable. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, kill my close friends for luck. That guy was twisted. Fun to play, though.
Hi, Dean, I'm Julia.
Hi, Julia.
Nice to meet you. I'm the one who asked you the marathon question on Twitter. So.
There we go.
Well, shame on you. Expose my vulnerability. The reason I won't run a marathon is that's just too far to go. That first guy died.
That's true.
He did
That guy did
die.
die.
He was a messenger running to give the information about the Battle of Marathon in Rome, as legend goes. And I've never liked running distance, and I've had 4 knee surgeries. Yes, 4. And I just don't.
Can I
it
just
doesn't
point
look
out
like
that Chuck
fun.
Taylors are probably not good for the bad knees?
Actually, these are pretty comfy. I don't poop in these.
Oh, there you
by
go.
the way, these Chuck Taylors. But these are from they were given to me by my exec producer on Hit the Floor.
Yeah, because they don't have your name on them, by the way.
They did Mr. Pete.
Oh, okay, Pete.
Pete is
on
the
show.
character that I
That's
play.
right, that's right, on Hit the Floor.
And they're kind of comfy, so they're good for Comic-Cons. And yeah, so I would never run that marathon because it's just too far. I don't care if it took me 15 hours. That's just too long to run. It's just too long to run. But thank you for exposing my vulnerabilities. I appreciate it.
Okay. I also saw on Twitter that you're going to go on a game show called The Chase with Seamus Beaver from Castle.
Seamus Dever, yes. He's, you know,
Tell us about that.
Seamus. First of all, Seamus. Looks like Shamus to me, or Seamus. And Dever looks like Deaver. That guy is very smart, I'll tell you. Great guy. And Boris Kojo, far too good looking for his own, for anybody, it's ridiculous. But the Beast, so The Chase is on GSN, Game Show Network, and there's this really smart English guy who's like 6'10", and he's rather brusque, and really smart, and it's a trivia game show, and you have to get up there and answer questions as fast as you can, and there are questions about everything, and again, few actors want to get on there and do that stuff because it shows how stupid we all are. And I had a great time on the show. I can't tell you what happens, but you should watch.
Come on, you're a Princeton man.
I'm a Princeton man, it's true. I did go to Princeton, and that I try to keep that as my ace in the hole. When they're like, why should we care what this guy says about anything? It's like, well, I do have an education. And I do have that part.
I have something to pull back on.
But exactly, which I try to tell every young athlete, that's the most important thing you can do. You don't go to a school for the coach or for this. You got to go because you're going to get an education, because very few people make it in the NFL. There were some guys who got there when I was there, and I was in training camp, and which was very sweet to point out that I only made it to training camp.
That's all right.
Rats.
It's because of injury, it's not like you.
It was really frustrating. I mean, you look at guys like one of the greatest Oklahoma running backs of all time, Marcus Dupree. A guy like that, there's so much can happen in football. You can get injured right away, and at any point in time, really in any sport. So it's hard to put all your eggs in one basket, and the majority of your life is going to be spent outside of that. So it's really wise to get your education. And unfortunately, in the Ivy League, you're a real true student athlete. There's no scholarships, no athletic scholarships. You're there because you enjoy the sport and you're getting your education, and that's pretty great. So I encourage that for all young athletes who are out there. There's not a whole lot of you out there, but it's really important, and I encourage it with my own son. So thank you very much. I like your sweatshirt, sir.
Thank you. Hi, my name's Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
I met you the other day, got an autograph, and I was telling you that every year I watch the Christmas episodes. So I was wondering, what's your favorite Christmas episode and why?
My favorite Christmas episode of Lois and Clark, or of anything?
Oh, Lois and Clark, I'm sorry.
Ah, yes. Well, I happen to write a Christmas episode, so, Christmas has always been my favorite time of the year, because it's, whether it's because you're celebrating the birth of Jesus, or because the family gets together, or even if it's, Hanukkah or whatever it is, that time of year where everybody gets together and celebrates is always my favorite time of the year, because in this world, you get so spread out and everybody goes in all different directions, and it's rare that you get to spend that time together as a family where everybody's sort of on top of each other and annoying each other, and it's always been a special time for me. So even as a young man on Lois and Clark, when I had an opportunity, I kept pushing to write an episode. The first one I submitted was a Christmas episode, and that was the one I wrote called Season's Greetings, and I thought that was a lot of fun. My mom was actually in that episode as an actress, and her and Terry got to fight over an atomic space rat. You got to see the show if you haven't seen it. It's amazing. But I love Christmas shows and Christmas movies. I've got 2 more Christmas movies coming out this year. They're just so much fun to me. And now there's like 3 or 4 networks that run 6 months. Earthquake? No. Oh, it's just him.
It's a terrible stage. Here, let me walk.
3 or 4 channels that just show marathon Christmas stuff, so it's great. So I'm going to keep making Christmas movies as long as I can. They're fun.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Hi, I'm Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Just wondering, who are your heroes, whether they be fictional or real life people? Who are the ones that you look up to?
Well, there's a long list of sort of heroes or people that I look up to. Heroes are, it's really interesting to me because everybody's human, so no hero is really a true hero, but some people have done some such amazing things. My number one hero has to be my dad, you know, because my father adopted me when I was 3 or 4 years old. I can't even remember, I was young. And I would have been a different person had he not been in my life. And I remember some times where as a young, aggressive young man, I may have gone off the rails or gone the wrong way, and he was always there. He wasn't a perfect father by any stretch of the imagination, but he was there, and he was there when I needed him the most. And so he would be my top hero. My son kind of is my hero too. He's my favorite human being in the world. He's just a great kid. And he's also named Chris. And then I've said this before, Chris Kyle, who was a Navy SEAL, former Navy SEAL, he was known as American Sniper. He's got the film coming out about his life this year. I think in December even. Bradley Cooper's playing him. He was a great friend of mine and someone who touched my life in a way, and the things he's been through. I find our men and women in uniform, whether it be law enforcement or first responders or certainly our military, are true heroes to me, and I go and visit them, and God bless you guys, no doubt. I'll go and visit them and do anything I can for these men and women, and for any military who are out there. Thank you for that so much. And those are, you know, a good number of my sort of heroes. I've got some sports heroes, like Joe Montana was a sports hero of mine, and Steve Young was certainly. Politics, Ronald Reagan was kind of a hero, and I got to meet Ronald Reagan, so that was really cool. And he wrote me a little inscription. I was playing Superman at the time, and it says, "Dear Dean, I've always wondered what would you do if there wasn't a phone booth." Sincerely, Ronald Reagan. I was like, that guy is so funny. And he gave me jelly beans, and what a nice guy. And as a history major, it was pretty impressive to meet him and the things he did. And I look at his speeches now, and they're kind of apropos for what we're going through here. So it's pretty cool to look back and see him. But it's a good little list of some of my heroes. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joe.
Hi, Joe.
How does it feel to have the ultimate one-up card in your back pocket? Because no matter what anyone says, you can always just say, well, I was Superman.
I think I still got a Justice League card.
It's a good one to have. It's not one I pull out very often, I promise you. Usually it's done more.
Are you kidding? I'd have it tattooed on my forehead. In case you forgot, I was Superman.
Yeah, but then they'll say, yeah, but you were. I mean, there's so many comebacks for it, so I leave it alone. But it's good to have, I watch my son pull it out a couple times. But he pulls, what it is more often is it comes back on me. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do that.
And he's 14. He's going to be dating before too long.
Man.
Would you like to go to my house and meet my dad? I'm Superman's son.
He has that in his back pocket. Yeah, I don't pull it out often, but it's more often used against me. You know, in my basketball league, you know, if I put up a shot, somebody swats it. Get that out of here, Superman. I'm like,
Let's see you dunk it, Superman.
I mean, it just doesn't stop. But it's a pretty cool thing to be known for. I will take the connection to my grave and beyond. I'm good with that. So it works both ways, I suppose.
Well, thanks for being the best Superman.
I'll take that.